भक्तवृंदा। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा। जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्तवृंदा। जय सच्चिनंदन जय सच्चिनंदन। सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि। निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। निताय गौर हरि बोल। Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare
are you? Good, right? Second place.
fine, Don. How are you? Anything else?
No.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Hello, sir. How are you? Good. 29:56. Thank you, sir. Sorry.
नामाचार्य शीला हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तजन की श्री राधा कृष्ण को गोपीनाथ श्याम सुंदर गुरुदेव दत्त श्री रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम चंद्रमय यमुना की तुलसी देवी की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की नाम संकीर्तन सामवेद भक्त और प्रेमानंद
हरे बोल।
All glories to the Assembly Lord.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the Assembly Lord.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the Assembly Lord.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Shri Guru and Shri
Hare Bol. Jai.
Authentic.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We'll have one round of chanting.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna महामंत्र की श्री
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to our weekly satsang. And today we are very happy to see this our Her Grace Devaki Mathaji. Thank you, Mathaji, for coming. I'm just will introduce her very shortly. Mathaji, you can come. We are very happy to welcome this weekly satsanga, Her Grace Devaki Mathaji. And she was born in Germany in 1958 and joined ISKCON in Sydney, Australia in 1985. She is a disciple of His Holiness Niranjana Swami Maharaj. She has been a teacher in ISKCON of several decades. Devaki Dashi Mataji has helped establish Bhakti Sangam festival in various countries and is regularly conducting holy name retreats. She was serving for several years as a member of the GBC committee for devotee care and promotes care of every ISKCON devotee to highest level of priority in our movement. In March 2014, she established the Institute of Spiritual Culture and has published 6 books. Today she will speak with the topic of this, that our final challenge. Please enjoy her class and nicely. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, especially these two bits. Yes. Yeah, I prefer
You
this.
prefer this one?
I'm not so friends with
She
him.
wants to use this. Is this okay?
Okay,
Is that all right?
but I don't know, might be Mataji have hold it or something. Like
It's all
that,
right.
because we do not understand. So,
I don't have a forearm form, but 2 arms I have, so. Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Om Kyantimandasya Yananjalasalakaya Chakshunmalitandena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manubhistam Sthapitanena Bhutale Swayam Upakaramayam Narati Swavadantikam Namam Vishnavaraka Shavasa Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Manane Namaste Saraswati Deve Govani Pachayane Nivishesha Srinyavari Pasata Vishatari Vanshakapa Trivasha Kripa Sanivevata Padittanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for allowing me to visit you here and spend a little bit of time in your association. So it's my first visit to Philadelphia, and I'm quite impressed what a nice temple you have and so many nice activities are happening, so that's very inspiring. Maybe let me add to the little introduction we just heard that for the last 25 years I have been very involved in preaching in Bangladesh. Do we have anybody here from Bangladesh?
yes, me.
Really?
I saw everything in your ISKCON youth from Sylhet. I saw every time.
What, you were there in Sylhet?
I'm from Sylhet, yes.
And you were there in the youth forum?
Yes.
Wow, just see? That's how small the world is. Wow, so just you two are from Bangladesh, anybody else?
Yeah, me and my wife also there.
Yes.
Her name is Muktidati Dashi.
Okay. So you were, what's his name? The youth preacher in Sylhet? Yeah, devotion. So you were under his
Yes.
guidance there? Wow, which year was that? Which year? When were you there?
I was in here in
Sylhet. In
For
Sylhet.
Sylhet, I was in 1994.
But I only came to Bangladesh in 2000.
Correct. I know you went to this later, but I was there in 1994.
So you didn't actually meet me there?
No, this time I did not meet you, but I saw it every time in the live, all the programs and broadcasts.
Okay. But we never met in Bangladesh?
No.
Okay. Okay, yes, so that's how small the world is, just see. Yeah, no, Bangladesh is very dear to my heart. For over 25 years I've been very involved there. And I learned so many things there. Bangladesh, a very special place. You know, it's East Bengal, so that we have Dakadokin, right? Yes, where his parents are from. You know, you can still walk up the stairs of Jagannath Mishra's residency. Yeah, it's pretty amazing places, you know. Yes. I want to take him to Bangladesh one day and show him all these things. Yeah, so there's so many holy places, and so most of Mahaprabhu's associates, they come from East Bengal, which is now Bangladesh. You know, Rupa and Sanatan Goswami and Advaita Acharya, Srivas Thakur. Srivas Thakur's house is also Bangladesh, Sylhet district, right? Yes. So yeah, there's so many places. And yeah, our Vaishnav culture has really been preserved there more than anywhere else in the world. Yeah. So in over 25 years of spending some considerable time there, I've learned a lot of things there about the sweetness and beauty of Vaishnav culture, how it is naturally meant to be lived. And so that really influenced my personal life and also my humble preaching efforts. And that's why I established an Institute for Spiritual Culture. My base is Mayapur. Mayapur is the only place where I spend more than 1 or 2 weeks. Everywhere else I'm just visiting. So in Mayapur I give different courses, how to actually live what Prabhupada has given us in his books. And now I'm putting these courses in book form. So each book is actually a 15-hour course, which I usually offer in Mayapur. And yeah, whatever I've learned, I owe to Bangladesh, really. So, yes, well, without Bangladesh, I would not have all these insights and convictions and realizations. And yeah. So Bangladesh has played a very important part in my life. And yeah, everywhere I go, I usually meet some Bangladeshi people. And sometimes I meet people who I've met in Bangladesh. Oh yeah, recently I was in Middle East and there I met a family from Bangladesh. Their daughter is now 10. And he said, you gave my daughter the first grains. You remember you did the first grain ceremony with somewhere in Bangladesh. Yeah, so that's how the paths are crossing on us. Yes. So yeah, tonight I do want to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is death. We first had chosen a different one, but then I thought, now, looking at the audience, I think the topic of death is pretty relevant for us all here. And I mean, it's relevant for anybody and everybody, because we never know when the time comes. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting that death is actually the only thing in life which is 100% sure, right? Everything else may happen, may not happen, we don't know, but death, 100% it will happen. And nevertheless, we pretend it will never happen to us, Yes, we think, oh, so much time. No, we don't even realize, how time is ticking and how we have to get ready, Yeah. But I mean, I've had cancer 2 times, which were the best times of my life. I learned so many things there, So I'm fully conscious of this. I think about this every day, that sooner or later I will have to go and I have to get ready. And so yeah, it's good to have a few warnings, Yes. Yeah, so, and we make so many arrangements how to live nicely, but actually we should make arrangements how to die nicely. And if we make arrangements how to die nicely, we live nicely too. And we die nicely. But if we only try to make arrangements how to live nicely, we don't live nicely and we don't die nicely. So and that's ultimately what the whole process of Krishna consciousness is all about, to actually prepare. Yes. Also interesting to understand how a devotee and a non-devotee, they have very different approaches to this topic of death, right? So for non-devotee, it is the most horrifying and most unwanted and most ghastly moment. There's so much fear there. where can I put this? Thank you. Yeah, there's so much fear there, and fear is actually always a sign of ignorance. If we don't know what happens there, then we are so fearful, you know. But once we actually confront ourselves more with this topic, we realize it's not such a horrifying thing, actually. We have done it so many times already. We just don't remember, you know? Yes. And I like to see death as being a journey into an unknown service situation. Because of that, I think we can all be pretty sure, even if we don't make it back to Godhead, but at least we will get another chance to serve Krishna and his devotees. Yeah? So it's just a journey into another service situation. That's all it is.
Okay.
And you know, what exactly happens? So as we know, the soul is covered by the gross body, made from earth, water, fire, air, ether. And then there's the subtle body, made from mind, intelligence, thoughts, ego. So, and Bhagavad Gita 2.22, it gives the nice analogy that we're just like leaving old and useless clothes behind and accepting a new set. So that's what happens. That the soul travels on the subtle body, leaves behind the dead and useless shell, and goes on the subtle body into a next gross body, depending on the composition of the subtle body, you know, depending on all the desires and impressions and experiences and attachments. That all determines our next destination. And we can only go back to Godhead if the subtle body is fully spiritualized and transformed. Yeah. So all the material aspects of the mind, intelligence, thoughts, ego, they all have to be replaced with spiritual impressions and experiences and desires and attachments. And so this is quite some work. It requires quite a bit of transformational work. It's not so easy, actually. Yes. So, yeah, and as we said, a non-devotee, for them, death is the most horrifying and unwanted and terrible moment. But for a devotee, actually, it's a very glorious moment when we can finally get on the plane back home, back to Godhead. You know, Krishna has been waiting for us for so many lifetimes. So why delaying? Why wanting to stay here by hook or by crook? Yeah, I'm starting to look forward to get out of here, to be really honest. Especially looking at the world is getting more and more crazy. You know, and Kali Yuga is really rapidly advancing. I mean, I will be 68 this year. So in my childhood, I grew up in Germany. Germany was pretty nice 65 years ago, you know. Life was still okay. I grew up in a little village, and you know, we were helping the farmers on the fields and going every day to the farmers and get the milk with a milk can. And yeah, it was very nice. But now, my God, life is really, you know, Germany has completely changed so much, you know, my goodness. So yeah, and it's not getting any better, you know, it's only getting worse. So, and so much disturbance happening in the world, so yeah, would be good to get out and go back to Godhead, you know. Yeah, so therefore for a devotee, depending on how firmly our relationship with Krishna is established, can we all please switch off the phone? Yeah, this is very distracting and disturbing. Yeah, so depending on how firmly our relationship with Krishna is established, proportionally we will actually lose our fear of death. You know? So now, if we are afraid of death, it actually directly shows that our relationship with Krishna is not very firmly established yet. Otherwise, we would not be so fearful. You know, otherwise we would say, yes, Jai, let's go. Join Krishna in his divine abode. You know? Yes. And interestingly, we can see death really as the final test. Which relationship is most dear to us? Yeah, that's what death is all about. We are tested. Which personality is most important? Which relationship is most dear to us? Is it with Krishna? Or are there other relationships in our life which are more important to us? You know, with husband, wife, children, grandchildren. So, and if any relationship is there in our life which is more prominent than with Krishna, we have to come back and finish this more important business. Yeah? Yeah. So that's why Krishna says in 8.5, I believe, so you have to remember me alone. And then you will reach my abode of this, there's no doubt. So Krishna says me alone. He's not saying me and your wife, husband, dog, cat, whatever people have, you know. Even in India now people have dogs, you know. Yes. Yes. I travel quite a bit in India too and preach there. And I see in the mornings people go and walk their dogs, you know. So yeah. So that's what death is all about. We are tested which relationship is most important. And we have to remember Krishna alone. So that's not so easy. That's not a cheap thing. That requires intense preparation, actually. Yeah. Yeah. Not so easy. Yeah, so if we lie on our deathbed and we lament, oh, I didn't see my granddaughter getting married, well, then we may have to come back just to see that. Oh, the granddaughter's getting married. So I'm not so sure if it's worthwhile, you know, going through the whole trouble. Yeah, so that's the test, you know. And these family relationships are very deep, you know, very strong attachment. That's why the Vanapasta ashram, there's a book about that, is so important. Something which is not really established yet in ISKCON properly. Most people are not planning so much for this, you know. But yeah, very important phase in life. Once the kids are grown up and established, the parents are meant to move on to the next phase, Vanapasta. Yes. And it's not that husband and wife have to separate and can't see each other or something. No, one can do this together. But yeah, it's a whole big topic. Yeah, so that's the whole thing. It's not so easy to remember Krishna alone. And also, to remember Krishna is actually not in our hands. Actually, there's also one verse where Krishna says that, Savasya chaham vidisani visto, matasmiti jnanam apurnacha. So from me comes knowledge, remembrance, forgetfulness, Krishna says. So actually Krishna has to be willing to appear on the level of our mind. We, out of our own strength, we cannot, force it to remember Krishna. Actually, when I joined in Australia, and I was a very young devotee, I had heard, yes, we have to remember Krishna at the moment of death. And I had to get some little surgery done, nothing serious, just some little thing, But I needed some anesthesia. So I thought to myself, all right, let me try and remember Krishna at that moment when I fall unconscious. See how it goes, And then when I woke up, I was shocked to see I didn't remember Krishna. And I was a little shocked actually. I was thinking, wow, not so easy to remember Krishna. Even at an insignificant little surgical intervention there, I couldn't remember Krishna. So what to speak of facing death? This is so much more bewildering, So that was one of my first realizations. Wow, not so easy to remember Krishna. But then I know some other stories. Actually, before the war in Ukraine started, I used to spend a lot of time in Ukraine also. Yeah, very nice place for devotional services. So many devotees there. But now I can't really go there. I'm not courageous enough. Even though they always say, come Mataji, it's safe, but I'm not so sure how safe it is. Yeah, so in any case, there's one Mataji, she was seriously practicing for at least 20, 25 years, very serious. And then she had a stroke. And she was paralyzed on the right side, which means left side of the brain is damaged, which means memory and speech was lost. Completely lost. She couldn't say and remember a single word. Not even her own name, nothing at all. Not a single word of her language, nothing. It was all blank. It was like a deleted computer program. So, but the brain has a good capacity to recover. I used to work as a physiotherapist before I met the devotees. So, and everything came back again. Speech, memory, everything came back. So then I asked her, so what was it like? Not to even remember your own name and not a single word in your language. This must have been really bewildering. And she said, yeah, it was unusual. But there was one thing I remembered, the Maha Mantra. And she said, I simply chanted in my mind and I knew I would be okay. So, and from a medical point of view, this is a miracle, Yeah. A person cannot remember their own name, not a single word in their language, nothing, not a single word, but they can remember the whole Maha Mantra. That's amazing, So obviously the only explanation is Krishna, appearing on the level of the mind. When the devotee is seriously practicing, then Krishna, in the form of the holy name, appears there in the mind to pacify. That's what happened. And then I know another nice story. This is actually from America. Mother Isha, she was in Boston, Prabhupada disciple. She used to serve there in Prabhupada's times. Same thing happened to her too. She also had a stroke, right side paralyzed, memory and speech was lost, and because she was already a little elderly, it didn't come back. You know, memory, speech didn't come back. But same thing, all she remembered was the Maha Mantra. And she was simply, unfortunately, she ended up in a non-devotee nursing home. But she was singing the Maha Mantra all day long, you know, through the whole establishment. Everybody knew her. Oh yeah, the lady who's chanting the Hare Krishna song. Yeah, she's in that room, you know. And His Holiness Niranjana Swami, he knew her from the early days. And he was a little upset that she ended up in a non-devotional atmosphere there in the nursing home. So once he traveled all the way to visit her. Several hours, somebody drove him there. And then when he got there, she didn't recognize him. And he was a little disappointed, you know, he traveled all the way to visit her and she didn't even recognize him. She was just chanting Hare Krishna, singing, you know. But then he was sharing, he was saying, actually, I realized whether she remembers me or not doesn't matter. Main thing is she remembers the Maha Mantra. And then, yeah, sometime later she left her body there. You know. So we may think, oh, how terrible, what a calamity, don't remember anything. But actually it's Krishna's mercy, you know. Krishna makes us forget all other unimportant nonsense. It's all deleted, wiped out. But one thing we're allowed to remember is the Maha Mantra, you know. Yes. Yeah, so it's not in our hands actually, you know, but we can only try and establish our relationship with Krishna and serve him with devotion and develop some genuine loving spirit towards him and hope that he will respond and appear on the level of our mind, you know. But yeah, it requires some serious preparation. And I also do want to share one little story with you, not from the Shastra, but also from modern life in ISKCON, which illustrates this whole process of reincarnation. When Prabhupada was on the planet, he had a disciple called Raghava Das. Do you know the story about Raghava Das? No? You didn't hear this in the course, in our course? You were not there. Okay. Yeah, so Raghava, he had a British man's body, and he was a brahmachari. He was serving in London, Bhaktivedanta Manor, and during the week he was going out on Harinam and book distribution, and on the weekends he was serving in the temple, in the kitchen. And it so happened that one day on the way back from Harinam, they had a car accident and Raghava left his body pretty much on the spot. So, and devotees of course were a little disturbed. They wrote a letter to Prabhupada. Oh, Raghava left his body. There's still a letter in the Prabhupada database there where Prabhupada answers and says, yes, that's all right, he will continue in his next life, Prabhupada said. And he was instructing the devotees to have a commemoration and, you know, remember his glories and his service and distribute prasad and have kirtan and all that. So, yes, but Prabhupada said he will continue in his next life. And this is exactly what happened. So the soul, which was there in Raghava's body, took birth in an Indian Mathaji's body, also in London. Her name is Ratnavali Devidasi. If you Google Raghava and Ratnavali, you get the whole story. It's out there on the internet, but please not now. So yeah, Ratnavali Mathaji, she is an initiated disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Churi Swami Maharaj. And through astrology, you can prove that this is the same soul. Don't ask me how, I'm not an astrologer, but yeah, you can prove that. And also, Ratnavali Mathaji remembers all different things, in dreams. When we dream the same things again and again, it very often indicates some experiences from previous lifetime. So yeah, she has some kind of visions from her previous life as Raghava. And also in London, there's one Prabhupada disciple who knows the art of putting people under hypnosis. And in hypnosis, in regression, they can remember their previous life. So she did that, and she also there, she remembered so many things about her life as Raghava. And in Bhaktivedanta Manor in London, there are still many Prabhupada disciples there now who knew Raghava. I actually, on one visit, when I visited Bhaktivedanta Manor, I met the driver who had that accident. He's still around. He didn't leave his body in the car accident, so I talked to him about the whole story. So in any case, when Ratnavali Mathaji meets some Prabhupada disciples who knew Raghava, she has that feeling, we know each other, Yes. So we may also have that experience that we meet somebody and immediately we click and we feel like we know each other for 30 years, so this can also indicate that we had some connection in previous life. Yeah, so it's a pretty well-established fact in ISKCON that Ratnavali Mathaji was Raghava in her previous life. So now when Bhakti Churi Swami Maharaj heard the story the first time, he asked Ratnavali Mathaji a question. So what do you think, what would be the most obvious question to ask? What would be the most obvious question to ask? Any suggestion?
Do you remember Krishna while you were leaving the body?
Well, yeah, we could ask that, but it's not the most obvious thing to ask. What's the most obvious thing to ask? Come on.
Birth and death.
Could also be an interesting question. But now, what's the most obvious question? If we think before he was in a British man's body, and now he's in an Indian Mathaji's body. So, his question was, what the hell happened? How did you end up in an Indian Mathaji's body? You were in a British man's body. So what did you think at the moment of death? Right? I think that's the most obvious thing to ask. What happened? From British man's body to Indian Mathaji's body, how did this go on? Right. So now, Ratnavali Mathaji was researching this. And she asked all the different devotees who knew Raghava, and then they remembered, oh yeah, when he was coming back and serving in the kitchen, there was an Indian Mathaji there serving in the kitchen. So now you're laughing, you're thinking, oh, they must have liked each other, maybe some little love affair or something. But no, it was the opposite. Raghava was a very strict brahmachari, very strict. He didn't allow himself to get attracted to women. They were quarreling all the time. There was some tension between them. And that was enough for Raghava to take birth in an Indian Mataji's body. That's how subtle it is. That not only the attractions we have to give up, but the aversions also. Because we have that saying, attraction and aversion, they're the two sides of the same coin, right?
Yeah.
So when we are averse, that's also a certain kind of attachment there, the attachment of being averse.
Yes.
And aversions are also a material aspect there, occupying some space in our mind. With aversions, we can't go back to Godhead. No. Yeah. Yes. So we often forget that. Yeah. That not only the attachments and attractions we have to give up, but the aversions too, the dislikes. You know. Yeah, so that was enough for Raghava to come back as Ratnavali Mataji. You know, that's how subtle it is. My God, I mean, when I heard the story the first time, that's about 20 years ago, or maybe even more, it really struck me. I thought, wow, this is amazing. You know, this is really how it happens. You know, it's not just something that's written in Bhagavad Gita, but no, this is how it goes. Whether you believe it or not, doesn't matter. You know, it's not only that this happens only to Hindus or something, but no, it doesn't matter whether you're Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, whatnot. This is how it works. You know, oh wow, I was really impressed. And also I realized it's not so easy to go back to Godhead. Not so easy. We may think, well, Raghava, he was a brahmachari, he was a Prabhupada disciple, he was a book distributor, or surely he would have gone back to Godhead. But no, Prabhupada knew it. He said he will continue this next time. You know, he was a young fellow. You know, so he was not so deeply purified and mature yet. You know, yeah. Yes. So, and also, Ratnavali Mataji, she took birth with some birthmarks. She has a birthmark on her forehead and across the belly. So when I was working as a physiotherapist 4 years ago, for some time I was working with early born babies to help them in their development through reflexes and I remember distinctly, I once was standing there in front of this box in the clinic with all these early born babies there, and one baby had a birthmark. They're often on the head, you know. And I asked some senior doctor there, why do babies have birthmarks and some don't? I was always inquisitive. I always thought it can't be a coincidence, must be some reason. Why does this baby have a birthmark? That one doesn't. And his answer was, babies have these things, nobody knows. That was his answer. But we can give a better answer. So, what are the birthmarks that Ratnavali Mataji has?
The accident happened, so maybe hurt over there.
Yeah, exactly. Raghava exactly had on those places some trauma. You know, he had an injury on the head, injury across the belly, exactly. And yeah, very clear, when we leave our body in some traumatic impact, like an accident, then the mind thinks, oh, my head, oh, my belly, and that impression is deeply established there in the mind, and then the soul travels on the subtle body of mind, intelligence, thoughts, ego to the next room. And even in the room of a mother, the mind is still contemplating, oh, my head, oh, my belly. And that forms the birthmarks in the womb. Amazing, isn't it? Yes. So it's a medical proof how the soul transmigrates. Medical proof, you know? Yeah. Actually, I never met Ratnavali Mataji, but we have been corresponding. She knows that I use her story in, in preaching, and I also put it in the book, you know. And when I published the book, or when I compiled the book, I sent her the story about her, just to ask her to correct it, to make sure I'm writing it properly, you know. So, and then she was saying she has the post-mortem, you know, the death report of Raghava. She got that, and she asked me, do you want to include that in the book? It's exactly there and there, and I said, it's all right, no problem. I don't want to know it in all the details, you know, but she was all excited, you know, that her story will be published in the book. Yeah, so in any case, yeah. And meanwhile, there is also, I think he is some American scientist or something, not a devotee. He also starts to realize that these birthmarks are connected with previous life and previous, you know, departure. And he also did some research. He went to Asian countries where people have that understanding that there's more than one life. And he has some case studies, you know, where he found some kids with birthmarks, and he followed up and researched. And also children, when they're very young, when they just start speaking, very often they talk about their previous life. Yes. And he describes one case where one boy has a birthmark on the head, and it looks like a gunshot. Very often they look like gunshots, the birthmarks, you know, because when people get shot, my head, you know. So, and that kid remembered, yes, down the road, some Mr. Such and Such, he killed me, he shot me. And then he followed it all up, and yes, indeed, that happened, you know. And so like that, he's got all these cases there which prove that the birthmarks are connected with the previous death, you know. Yeah. Actually, last summer I was traveling around Europe to Slovakia. Probably you wouldn't even know much about this country, some insignificant little country. And I met one Mataji there. She said her son, when he just could speak, he was saying that in his previous life he was a cow. He remembered. And in that community, as one family, they had 300 cows, or was it 200? Maybe 200. 200 cows, and they all died. And now they have only 2 cows left. And this kid was saying, I was a cow in his herd. And on that field, I was grazing, and that's where I left my body. He remembered it all. Yes. I had never met anybody who remembered an animal life before, you know, but Prabhupada says, yeah, from cow, human form. And obviously these cows in a Vaishnav community, they hear the holy name, they take prasad, so they would take birth in a devotee family. And I asked the mother, so did you have a lot of interaction with the cows? She said, no, not at all. But she was, or has been always good friends with that family who had the cows. You know? And we were joking and saying, so probably all these cows, they're taking birth here somewhere in devotees' families, you know, which left their bodies, you know. Yeah, so it's quite an interesting thing. And then one more thing, going back to Raghava and Ratnavali. I saw some photos of Raghava, of Ratnavali, and of this Indian Mathaji who served in the kitchen. By the way, Ratnavali Mathaji went to meet this Mathaji who served in the kitchen there with Raghava. That must have been also a pretty interesting meeting. I don't know anything about that, or how that went. But you imagine you meet the person who you served in your previous life in the kitchen, and you had some aversion towards that person, and that's why you're back now here in an Indian Mathaji's body, you know, so that would be a pretty funny meeting. You know? In any case, when I saw these pictures, I couldn't help but laughing. So why did I laugh? Yes, you could see Ratnavali, oh, she has some features of Raghava, eyes, nose, whatever, and then some features of this Mathaji, you know, who he was averse to. You could really see it. So whatever features we all have here, this is not a coincidence, you know. There's some mixture there of, you know, the person we were attached or averse to, something from our own features also. So why, now the burning question, why does Ratnavali have some features of Raghava? Why is that? Anybody can understand?
Because he was attracted her some feature. That's why she he take like the next part.
Well, yeah, you almost got it right. Because we are all so attached to our facial features.
Yeah.
Right? With no other part of the body are we identifying as much as with the face. So many times we look in the mirror, oh yes, I'm so beautiful, so handsome, oh, I'm getting old. And you know, so we are really identifying with the face. Feet, doesn't matter what the feet look like, you know. But the face, ooh, is so important. You know, and if people have some accident and the face is all distorted, ooh, this is so difficult for the false ego, you know, to walk around with some funny face or something, you know. So, yeah, because we're all so attached to our facial features. That's why we have some of those also in our next life, you know. Yes. Yeah. So interesting. And we can almost say, you know, Krishna really makes the whole game here more difficult because he arranges it that practically every human being looks differently, you know. Very rarely do we find two people who look the same. Very rarely. So there's such a variety of features, my God. You know, Krishna doesn't run out of ideas, you know. There's different colors and different eyes and different nose and flat and, you know, this, that, you know. And that just deepens the bodily identification, you know? Yeah. Like animals, ants, at least I can't perceive that they look all so distinctly different or something. To me, they all look pretty much the same, you know, but human beings, so different, just to make it a little more difficult to overcome the whole bodily concept, you know. Yes. Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, I find the story has the power to shake us up a little bit, you know, that we realize, so time is ticking, we only have a little bit of time left, who knows how much. And yeah, I mean, going back to the facial features, you know, sometimes the children look just like one of the parents, you know, and we usually say it's the genes. No, it's not the genes. No, it means in previous life there was some connection, and that's why we take birth in the same family, because of that attachment. You know, that's what it means. Because sometimes kids look so much like one of the parents, sometimes they don't at all. So obviously it can't be the genes, you know, otherwise they would always look like the parents. Yes. Now that's what it is, you know, because of that deep family attachment. Then we take birth again together somewhere, maybe in a different constellation or whatever, you know, a different gender and. Yeah, but that's what it is, you know, that's what it is. Yeah, so, and now, very quickly to conclude here, so what's the main way to prepare? Huh? Chanting, re-establishing this lost and forgotten relationship, because as we said, we are tested. Which relationship is most important? Yeah, has to be Krishna. If we want to get out of here, it has to be Krishna. Yeah. So understanding that, just one little thing to think about. It's actually, from a spiritual point of view, it's not so good to be surrounded by family members when we leave our body. Yeah. Because it is very difficult to remember Krishna alone when your beloved wife or husband or granddaughter sits right next to you at your bed. Right? Yeah. There's one statement in the Bhagavatam where Prabhupada says, a glorious death is when nobody of the family knows we are leaving. That's a glorious death. Wow. Probably we would think the glorious death is when everybody, all the dear most beloved people are around us. Sometimes I read these announcements, you know, such and such Prabhu, disciple of Prabhupada, left this world peacefully surrounded by his family members. And I'm thinking, oh no, not that, you know? Yes, yes. Because it makes it very difficult, you know? Yes, yes, yes. Actually, the family members, at least these last 2, 3, 4 weeks before we leave, they should be invisible. And other devotees should be there, taking care, not the family. That makes it easier. I've accompanied quite a few people in this last 2 or 3 weeks. You know, my own parents also. They were not practicing devotees, but they were extremely favorable. They had been to India and everything, you know, very supportive and yeah. But they were not chanting Hare Krishna. But both my parents had an amazing departure, and I had such a strong desire. I want to help them in this last phase, you know. And in my lifestyle, always traveling the world, I was a little worried, or maybe I won't even hear about it, I won't be able to be there. But with both of my parents, Krishna arranged it that I caught the right moment. I immediately packed all my traveling preaching, flew back to Germany, and I kept them at home. And being a physiotherapist, I know a little bit about, taking care of an old and sick body and so on. So, and yeah, both my parents had an amazing departure, so we have to know how to support people. So of course, when our relatives are not devotees, then it's good if we as devotees are there. But we as devotees should be better not surrounded by family members. And I have observed this many times. When some very dear personalities are sitting right next to the bed, people cannot leave. And then when they get tired and they leave and have a break, or they take bath or have a meal or something, then they can leave. Yes. Yeah, it's very clear, you imagine you're lying there and your most dear, even if it's a friend, even guru. I was once present when a devotee left, and spiritual master was sitting there for many hours. And then as soon as he went out and left, she left her body, But when your guru is sitting there, how can you leave? Right? Pretty hard. Yeah, so it's a whole art. Actually, I describe many of these things in that wonderful book. Yeah, we have to learn how to give space to people and let them withdraw and help them to focus. And yeah, it's a very important service. It's a very sweet service also, because you can really connect from soul to soul and really encourage a person. Also, better not to have anybody around from the other gender.
Yes.
Actually, when Kadambakana Swami recently left,
Yes.
one of his disciples told me that at a certain point he said, no more women around me, and I thought, good, I'm going to take that idea up. No more men around me at a certain time. Yes. Yeah, because, this man-woman attraction is so deep, so strong, doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter who it is. Better not to have anybody of the other gender around. So all these things we have to consider, we have to make some plans, Yes. Oh yes, I'm making plans. Of course, let's see if Krishna sanctions the plans. He may have different plans. That's all right, that's always like that, but we still have to make plans. So I'm making a list who I want to have around me and who better not. So I'm thinking, I've already asked a few people if they would be ready to be there for me and so on. So yeah, we have to plan and consider, and yeah, it's the whole thing. All right, so there's so much more to say, but time is going. Do we have any questions? Yes, Peru.
Hare Krishna, Mathaji, thank you for the great lecture. I had a question about the story you told about Ragna and Ragnavali Mataji. You mentioned that there were some points at which, in her dreams, Ragnavali Mataji was able to remember memories or tidbits from her past life.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly from previous lectures I've heard, what prevents the soul from remembering memories from past lives typically is Maya, if I remember correctly. In cases like these where someone's able to remember things from their past life, or someone's born with birthmarks that indicate something that happened in their past life, how would that interaction take place, like with Maya? Like how would someone be able to see past that and see memories from previous life?
Well, I mean, I dare say it's actually really Krishna's arrangement that we forget. Because you imagine, you know, if we would remember last life and maybe the one before, we probably would go nuts, you know. It would be very confusing. And it's enough trouble to deal with one set of upadis, you know, with designations which we are not, you know. So, yeah, that's why Krishna arranges it that we don't remember as a rule. And usually from what I have experienced, it's only very young children, for some time they do remember. But then they talk about it. I know quite a few parents who told me that their children were talking about their previous life. But then they forget. It's just when they learn how to talk. You know? Yeah. So, and remembering under hypnosis and regression or something, this is also somewhat artificial, we can say, which I actually don't recommend to do, because this can be very confusing. Because then we can get all mixed up, or am I Raghava or Ratnavali, or actually I'm a brahmachari, and you know, yeah, we get all mixed up there, you know. So, I mean, for preaching purposes, the story I really like, but I don't recommend you to go into your previous life and try to dig in there, what was I? I know some devotees who did this, and oh yeah, one says, oh yeah, I was a prostitute in my previous life, and I was a demigod, and you know, and easily people get all puffed up about it, and you know, no need, you know. Better to worry how we get out of here, you know. And there's a reason why we usually forget. And in dreams, this is not so much that we clearly remember, but it's just like that because the same subtle body we've carried with us for so many lifetimes. So there are so many impressions stored, and very often they come up in dreams. So when we dream the same thing again and again, this may very well indicate some impressions from previous life or something, you know. But yeah, no need to get into it, you know. Yes. It's only confusing, you know. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, Mataji.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Thank you, Mataji. I have something to share with you. Like, I don't know whether it's what kind of psychology I can say that, but like sometimes, like I have my experiences. Like I dream something, and those things I realize when they actually happen, you know. And I get that feeling like, oh yeah, I have dreamed about this before. Those incidences happen, you know.
What, in the past or in the future? Or?
No, it happened like, for example, I dreamed sometime, you know, in the past, and then like when it came to realistic, so I feel what is this coincidence? You know? It's something, and it happened 2-3 times actually. Since I got into this Krishna consciousness, so like I don't know whether it's that, but it stopped. But yeah, such things did happen.
So it's more that looking into the future or something. You dream something and then that happens in the future. It's like foretelling the future or something. Is that what you say?
Yeah, like for example, now I'm here. Like sometime I had that feeling. Then I realized it was somewhere in the dream that I saw that, and like you know. So something, yeah, I mean something which I really don't know whether I connect with something in the past or the previous life. I don't know. Many people say that these are something like coincidences. Everyone dreams like 1,000 times. Like so many things happen in your mind, in your dreams.
Yeah, I mean, often the dreams are also completely crazy things, Just the mind puts all kinds of stuff together and, it doesn't even make any sense or something. A lot of my dreams are like that. That I'm thinking, oh my God, how is that coming up now, So, yeah, I mean, with dreams in general, I think we also have to be careful, especially when people, they, like to share their highly transcendental dreams and what they were dreaming, so actually, as a devotee, we should not even share our transcendental experiences and so on, because if we like to share them, then very easily there's some mood of showing off there that we want to be recognized as being so advanced and special and all that. I mean, it's not what you were saying, but in general, talking about dreams, often people like to share what amazing dreams they have, and Krishna and Prabhupada appear and this and that. So if we have dreams like that, better to keep them private, and not share them around and talk, because really, why do we share them? Because we want to be recognized as being very special or something.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
All right, well, maybe let me say a few little words about each one of these books, right? Yes, you want to hear something about
Sure.
them? Okay, good. So, Spiritual Culture, Krishna's Divine System. This is actually all about women. We women are very powerful. We have a very powerful Shakti, very powerful energy. And Bhagavatam says we should be the power of inspiration to the man. And we should not compete with a man. Yes, I'm sure the men like to hear that. Yeah, so a woman can bring the very best out of a man. She can help him to develop his highest potential, spiritually, materially. Or if she uses that Shakti in a destructive way, she can ruin his life and finish him off. That's the power of a woman. Yeah. Yeah, so any woman who wants to have harmonious relationships with men in her life, not only in family life, even at work or in the community, we have so many dealings and interactions with the other gender. So every woman who wants to have relationships in her life with men, she should read this book. Also very helpful for young girls, now people are very confused what is success in a woman's body and so on, So there's a few interesting things there. And also for the man, every man who wants to get the support and encouragement of a woman should also read this book. Very helpful for married life. Actually, this book has saved already a few marriages. People write to me because in each book is my email address. So I have a few success stories, where people just wanted to file the divorce and then they got this book and then, they thought, okay, let's try again. And they're still happily married. Yeah. So then we have sheltering relationships. This is all about the importance of having a mentor, a counselor, we say in India. And in the West, we usually say mentor. That just having Diksha, Shiksha, Guru not enough. We need this well-wishing friend who guides us, who helps us to move forward. Otherwise, very easily we stay in our comfort zone and then we become stagnant. And we can come here for 30 years every Friday, Saturday evening, but nothing really happens in our life, you know. It all stays as it is. Yeah, so we need this coach, you know, mentor who helps us to move forward. And then we have the false ego, our constant companion and troublemaker. False ego is so subtle, we usually don't even recognize it because it's so subtle, you know. And we can feed and boost the false ego very nicely, all in the name of Krishna consciousness. It's happening. Kirtan can be the opportunity to show off, you know. Yes. So yeah, and for example, when we get offended, so often that happens, right? What is it? False ego, rebelling, crying for justice, when we can't forgive and move on, and you know, when we keep grudges, it's all connected with false ego. So there's a lot of practical things in there which are helpful for our daily life. And there's a whole chapter on chanting. I do also conduct holy name retreats around the world. So there's like a summary of a holy name retreat. Actually, we used to have holy name retreats in Kulaura. You heard about that?
Yeah, I had the project in India. I worked there long.
Okay.
9 months.
Okay. Yeah. It's a farm outside Kulaura. Yes. So then we have entering the Grihastha Ashram. This is a handbook for matchmaking. How to see that a boy and a girl are compatible for marriage. Like in Indian families, very often people only look at caste and money. Right? Yes, it's still like that. I didn't even realize when I wrote the book, I didn't even realize that this whole caste thing is still such a thing in India, you know. Devotees, initiated devotees, who choose rather a non-devotee for their children who is in the same caste than a devotee from a different caste. My God! You know, so people put more emphasis on the caste than on devotional qualities. You know? I mean, from somebody like me, this is almost shocking, you know, how people can set such priorities. So yeah, I dare say we need to fine-tune our matchmaking a little bit. And there's a whole list of over 200 topics which a boy and a girl should discuss in the presence of the parents to see, are we on the same page? Do we have the same goals and moods and values and standards we want to follow? And that, you know, it has to match. Now the divorce rate in India is really going up. I have met cases where they get divorced after 6 months of marriage because then they had enough time to talk about things, you know. And very often the parents only give, you know, one meeting for 20 minutes in the temple room and that's it. Parents make the deal and you're married and you haven't even talked about important things in life, you know. So, and then after 6 months of marriage, they had enough time to talk about things and they realized that this is not going to work. You know, we are from different planets here, you know. Yes. And then people separate, you know, yes. So, yeah, anybody who has children and, you know, who are teenagers or something, especially for the girls, that for them it's even more pressing topic, this whole marriage topic, you know. So the girls should read it. The boys too, when they're 26, 27, you know, they should also look into it. And the parents should read it so they can help their children to find a compatible partner, you know. And then we have family life as an ashram, secrets of success. How to create the culture of bhakti in our home. Actually, in this book, I'm also sharing a lot of things from Bangladesh. And then the first one about women, there I'm also sharing a lot of stories from Bangladesh. Yeah, so many married devotees' whole life, you cannot really call it an ashram, a place suitable for cultivating bhakti. It requires a bit of training and education. We have to accept a certain lifestyle and we have to give up certain habits and it's a whole thing, you know, to make it really a place for bhakti, you know. So there's a lot of practical things. It's like a handbook for successful Krishna conscious family life. And there's a whole chapter on physical intimacy in marriage, how to live this principle of no illicit sex life. Nobody talks about it, especially amongst Indian people. You know, it's like a taboo. And people often are at a loss how to make things work. And so I did a bit of research. I came across interesting episodes with Prabhupada where he says things which most people haven't heard. And that adds a whole different perspective to the topic. So good to know these things. And last but not least, the Vanapasashram, meeting death with joy. So there's a whole chapter on death, Raghava Ratnavali, it's all in there, and the cow and everything, and so many more things. So many more things, you know, yes, we have to confront ourselves and we have to prepare and, you know, cultivate different desires to remember Krishna alone. And yeah, what the Vanapasashram is all about, you know. Yeah. Important topic. It's practically not established in ISKCON. Nobody is even talking about Vanapasta or planning for it. Most people don't have a clear idea of how it is meant to be lived. Even though Bhagavatam, there's so many clear statements about it, you know. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm trying to make Prabhupada's books practically accessible to people, you know, because many topics, they're spread out to all the 12 cantos, like Vanapasashram, you find strong statements all spread out to 12 cantos. So I collect them all, put them in order, unpack them, give examples, and so people understand how to actually apply it in their practical life, you know. And each book is a 15-hour course. So for preachers, very useful, because all you have to do is read 1-2 chapters, take some notes, Prabhupada's quotes are there, ready as your presentation. You know, so many preachers use them to train their congregation. You know, yeah, they're all practical, relevant topics. So now, if any of you want some books, these last 4 books are $20 and the first 2 are $15. Many devotees took the whole set. Whole set is a little discount, $100. But one thing is now that I already distributed all the books I had with me. I sent a whole big box and my suitcase was full of books. They're already all gone. They're just the samples now. So what I do, if any of you want some books, then we write your name and phone number down and we tick which books you want. And if you trust me, you pay me already now. And then I send another box from Mayapur. And then you will get what you ordered. That's my system. Because for me, not possible to understand how many copies I need of each title. So I always send some books up front to have some, and then I take orders and I take exactly, I send the amount which is paid for, you know, like that. So and you can pay cash or card or whatever, Venmo, Zelle, whatever we have. Okay. So yeah, let's leave it at that. It's 8 o'clock, late enough. So thank you so much for your kind attention. And it was my great pleasure to spend some time. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada ki Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki Gaura Premanand.
Okay, first.
So if any of you want some books, you can just, after
Announcement too.
the class here, you can just come up and we work it all out there. Yes.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for a wonderful class, really. I'm really happy to see you, and also you remember all the things for description the Bangladesh different places. When I spoke with my guidance mentor in the Devoshi Siva Prabhu, sometimes I talked to about you also. He said that Bangladesh devotees love you too much. Yeah, and also my Guru Maharaj also, he's going to the Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj. He also loved the Bangladesh devotees because they are very friendly. Thank you. And now we can, especially the Mataji already came and give us the nice association. We have to chant 3 rounds for Mataji's. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And we have couple of announcements. This upcoming March 28, Saturday, we know that there is a Kamoda Ekadashi day, and also we have in the ISKCON Philadelphia Temple, we'll celebrate 77th Besha Puja in His Holiness Srila Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj. He is my spiritual master. I just cordially invite all of please devotees, please try to join this program. And this program is started 11 a.m. and ends 1:30 p.m. And the next announcement is will be upcoming. This 28 we have here also the program is like there is the special guest will be the Keshav Acharya Prabhu. Please join it our weekly satsang here. And April 11, another special guest will coming, His Grace Vishnukata Prabhu. Please also join this satsanga this April 11th. Thank you very much. And another announcement is, the Binapani Mathaji already passed away in the last week, and she was very dedicated devotee and the pujari in our ISKCON Philadelphia. She served in 2000 to 2010. But I really might be saw her, but I forget. I came 2009, but I don't know. But I see the face. I think so. Please also she can going to the her abode to the Golok Vrindavan. That's why we can chant 1 round for her. Please join it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much, all devotees. And we just now we have the Mataji's books. Please, anyone want to interested to take this, please take it one for her this book and pay for her the cash or anything already she described. Thank you very much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. And now we have to the prasadam time. We will do the prasadam chanting mantra. Course, okay. Okay. Yeah, we just the last one we have to do for the Srila Prabhupada quote for the weekly. We'll do this.
Vrinda.
Yeah, okay. Vrinda Mataji will do this Srila Prabhupada quote reading. Thank you.
Srila Prabhupada's quotes for the week, 14th March. There is a story that one fool was sitting on a branch of a tree and he was cutting off. And somebody said, "You'll fall down." Ha, fall down. But when he fell down, he said, "Oh, you are a great astrologer." So who goes to the astrologer? Only fools and rascals. No sane man goes. What is to happen, that will happen. Why shall I go to an astrologer? 15th March. Today, 15th March, now it is 7:35, gone as soon as it is 7:36. You cannot bring back that 15th March evening, 7:35 again. Even if you pay millions of dollars, please come back again. No, finished. Chankya Pandita says time is so valuable that if you pay millions of golden coins, you cannot get back even a moment. What is lost for good. If you such valuable time spoil for nothing without any profit, just imagine how much you are losing, how greatly you are a loser. 16th March. Everyone is being controlled by God, but a devotee is so exalted that Krishna says, I wish to be controlled by you. This is Krishna's position. 17th March. A pure devotee always thinks himself as not devotee. If one thinks he is big devotee, that is not good, thinking that he is first degree. We should not be puffed up. A devotee avoids it, remaining always in the second degree. Krishna has given everyone something extraordinary, and to serve Krishna with one's extraordinary talent means successful life. 18th March. In the material world, we want to minimize our activities and take rest more. But in the spiritual world, there's no rest and there's no limit of activities. Krishna is unlimited, his service is unlimited, and the energy of his servants is unlimited. Although we are in the midst of ignorance, still, if we keep ourselves alert, there is no place of ignorance. 19th March. We act according to our whims, and the result action is there immediately. Nature's law, God's law, is there. It's not God's creation that someone is suffering from some painful condition and somebody is enjoying. No. We infect ourselves with some contamination because this material world is full of contamination. You must remain very cautious, otherwise you will have to suffer. 20th March. Depend on Krishna, because after all, he is the ultimate master of all situations. It is not the doctor, or the medicine, or the place, but it is ultimately Krishna who is the master to do everything. 21st March. Krishna is joyful. I am part and parcel of Krishna. Therefore, I also must be joyful. This is natural. If your father is black, then I am also black. So our Father, the Supreme Father Krishna, is joyful. He is not engaged in some industrial work or heavy machine making. He is simply playing on his flute and Radharani is there. That is joyful nature.
Thank you, Vrinda Mathaji, for nicely reading the Srila Prabhupada nectar. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay, we have to chant the Mahaprasad mantra now and enjoy your prasadam. And Mahaprasade Govinde
Mahaprasade Govinde
Namo Brahmani Vaishnave
Nama Brahmane Vaishnave
Shalpa Punnavatam Rajan
Salpa Punyavatam Rajan
Vishwasanaiva Jayate
Vishwasanaiva Jayate
Sharira Abhita Jal
Sharira Vidyajal
Jarendriyata Hekal
Jadendriya Hatrahika
Jibe Fele Bishoy Sagare
Jive Phale Vishesagare
Tar Moddhe Jibbayati
Taramadhi Jivayati
Lubha Maya Sudurmati
Lovo Maheshwadarmati
Take Jeta Katina Samsare
Take Jata Katina Sansare
Krishna Baro Dayamoy
Krishna Varodayama
Kari Bhare Jipa Joy
Tari Vare Chivajay
Saprasadanna Dilabai
Swapasanna Viravai
Sheyana Mito Pao
Siyannamrit Pao
Sri Radha Krishna Guno Gao
Sri Radha Krishna Gunagao
Premeda Ko Sri Chaitanya Nitai
Premeda Ko Sri Chaitanya Nitai
Jai Nimai Jai Nitai
Jai Nimai Jai Nitai
Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Prabhu Nityananda
Sri Advaita Gadadhara
Sri Advaita Gadadhara
Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Jai Sri Radha Vrindavan Chandra Bhagavan Mahaprasadam ki
Jai
Jai Gaur Premanande Hare
Hari Hari
So, who wants some books?